Hello, and welcome to Matters of Mind. Today, I'm going to review a new book, Fossil Future by Epstein, who argues that we need more fossil fuel use in order to produce more human flourishing. Now, I know you might be giving me that look, just like my wife gave me when she handed me this book straight out of the Amazon box, but stick by. There are some important things that he points out, so let's get into it here on Matters of Mind. Now, in this review, I'm going to provide a summary of what I thought were the major conceptual points made by the author, and then some further details on the points are actually in my Substack below, which I'll link. Any discussion of the technical and scientific data on climate, I'll leave that for the book itself. But much of the book focuses on something that I thought was incredibly helpful, which was setting up our conceptual framework for discussing climate, and that is really what I focus on here. Our knowledge systems, which include our media, the educational institutions, and their designated experts on climate, are generally working from what Epstein calls the anti-impact framework. This anti-impact framework sees all human impact on Earth as inherently immoral. Thus, any policy they support will look to reduce the impact of humans on Earth, regardless of that impact's positive results for individual humans. This anti-impact framework creates a hierarchy of concern with the unimpacted Earth above the prosperity of humanity itself. It then leads us to sometimes ignoring the benefits of fossil fuel use because those benefits themselves aren't impacts on the Earth. And thus, for anyone working in that framework, it's inherently immoral regardless of the positive contributions to human flourishing. It also creates a tendency to not account for what Epstein terms climate mastery. Climate mastery is the ability to reduce the negative impacts of climate for the purpose of human flourishing. Our ability to reduce climate danger is also seen as inherently immoral because we impact the natural state of the Earth when making it safe for humans. Climate mastery can involve anything as simple as creating homes that shelter us from the naturally dangerous environment, or using fossil fuels to heat those homes, using materials created from fossil fuels and the energy from fossil fuels to transport water to areas of drought, or even building better structures to protect us from changing sea levels, much like they do in the Netherlands. The anti-impact framework also creates a tendency to focus only on the possible negative side effects of fossil fuels, then ignore the benefits of fossil fuel use. Cheap, reliable energy that allows us to flourish, helps protect us from the changing climate, and also frees us from the daily toil of work, allowing us to use our minds to better our world. But bettering our world assumes that making life better for humans is the moral goal. And in the anti-impact framework, that is not the moral goal. What Epstein asks us to do is pivot our thinking. What he likes to focus on is human flourishing. That fundamental shift in thinking puts human flourishing at the top of our hierarchy of goals, as opposed to reducing human impact on the Earth. A possible definition for human flourishing could be as many human beings living in relative safety as possible with the freedom to pursue their individual happiness. And how do we promote human flourishing? By using our minds to intelligently impact our environment. And this is why Epstein refers to the anti-impact framework that our major institutions are working within as being anti-human. Humans, by their very nature, use reason to manipulate their surroundings for their benefit. So to think of any human impact on the planet whatsoever as immoral is to see the very nature of humanity as immoral. This is why the anti-impact framework leads us to ignore the billions of people in our world that would benefit from fossil fuel utilization, because they're still living without electricity, cooking indoors using wood and animal feces. They dismiss their desires to be more empowered and have the reliable energy we do in order to have basic medical care, to force them to carry dirty water from local streams to their homes every day. In order for them to crawl out of poverty, they will need to impact their environment. And that impact in and of itself is seen as immoral because preserving the delicate balance of the earth takes precedence over their desires to flourish. And this is why Epstein argues we need to expand fossil fuel utilization. In order to promote human flourishing across the world, not just here, and in light of green energy's low ability to provide enough sustainable energy with current technology, the current reality requires that additional energy be available through using fossil fuels, and that billions of humans still today will continue to suffer otherwise. Now, Epstein also gets into the scientific data relevant to this discussion, but I'll leave that to the reader of the text. The best part of this book that I found was the manner in which he carefully and thoroughly identifies the underlying worldviews that people are starting with and how they impact their conclusions. Once we identify that framework, there is still a lot of that scientific evidence to parse through, with the CO2 increasing, what dangers our oceans are in. Is our planet experiencing an increase in dangerous storms and wildfires, and why exactly is that happening? And he does go through that. But regardless of your position on these issues, this book would be helpful in understanding your own framework and if it needs adjustment. Are you interested in human flourishing, or are you encompassing your framework with anti-impact, making sure we don't change the natural state of the earth? Thanks for taking the time to listen. If you want to look at some more details, I highly recommend reading the book, and I do explore some more of those issues in my Substack and my Medium piece that I will post in the links below. As always, thanks for watching, and if you like and subscribe, it's incredibly helpful to my channel. If you're interested in seeing a discussion of this book, I'll be discussing this book with my friends at Unsafe Space, and I'll put a link to that discussion below the comments. Thanks so much, and have a great day.